welcome to this morning's version of the Winning Pitch podcast. I have a new friend of mine called Kwang. He's from Korea, and we know each other from being on Zoom calls. We've never shook hands, and we've never been in the same space other than by video, but thank God for video. So, and he has a very interesting life story to tell you, and it's going to be very motivating. So, Kwang, the floor is all yours. Start wherever you want.
Salute you, Master Tom. Thank you for bringing me in. I'm very glad to be here. This is a very, very exciting experience to be on your podcast. I mean, I've been, like among us in the licensee with Zoom calls, I find like Tom most youngest, most powerful energy all the time. I mean, we're getting very inspired a lot about you from you. And I'm very excited to share my story and my experiences here with you and your podcast and audience. So I'm Kwang Lee in South Korea, and I'm like only licensee here. And the reason I started, how I become a licensee, let me tell you the very brief story about it. Is I have a daytime sales job. I still do, and for the longest time I wanted to do well, but I had no idea how. So I started off very, very, very like low income, and I just trying to figure out how to do well. And I've been reading books, going to seminars, losing a lot of money and time. And after a few years, I thought, maybe like I'm losing all this time and money, I might as well just go for the best. And that's when I found Grant Cardone and the licensing program as well. So originally intent was just about, I want to because this has made me double my income so fast within a year. And it was life-changing experience for me in my 20s. So I just wanted to Grant help me. My life changed, and I wanted to do the same for the others. That was my first idea. And I emailed the Grant Cardone office, and I just learned about the licensee program. I had no idea about. I didn't know I could do that. So that's how it got started. But first, my original intent was only about selling Cardone U, and then I get to coach by Richard Dolan. I mean, I get to watch Tom's podcasts and videos, and more inspired about 10x in my life, 10x in people's lives in Korea, and it expanded even further. So now I'm more focused on being the 10x life demonstration, and actually doing the same for my customers and clients and everyone who reaches out to me. So it's a very, very exciting experience, and it's been getting very, very slow, and it's been taking off very, very rapidly recently. And I think it's because I focus more on my why. Why did I become a licensee? I wanted to help people. I've been losing that purpose for about a few months, and last time I remember, okay, that's why I started this. I want to focus more on actually helping people, reaching out to them even after they become my customer, or they're not my customer yet. I don't care. I will just provide free of charge, just consulting, coaching. And if they're very, very happy, they just automatically do business with me. Or so it's been very explosive. I'm not so sure how to organize it, but that's basically my story.
Awesome. So, how did you get connected? Well, let's not even start there. Let's go back.
Yeah.
What inspired you to do what you're doing now?
What inspired me? Let's see. So basically, the very first time I get to know about Grant Cardone was actually on YouTube. But this is very, very long before I became a licensee or knew about Cardone University. But I wanted motivation, and I wanted the big uncle to tell me what to do, because I was so lost. I had no idea what I'm doing, and I didn't know why I hated my job, because I didn't know the concept of I don't know what I'm doing, then I will not be happy with what I'm doing. So I've been starting to watch these YouTube clips, and I felt I had no idea what I was doing, but I was still getting motivated by this guy, so much energy, and he's just going on right on point, full of action. And then more and more I listen to these positive people, like-minded people. I mean, that kind of drag me towards I can do better. That there are ways to do this. I can learn more. I can educate myself and be better. So yeah, I just kept going toward that direction, and ended up being I gotta do something with Grant Cardone. So that kind of elevated.
So when you were little, I'll just pick an arbitrary time,
Yeah,
such as when you were 6. What were you thinking about at that age that kind of put you where you are now?
age of 6. Let's see.
If
Mm,
you want to move it to 7, that's okay.
well, when I was very, very young, actually, like I had like no direction. I was a happy boy, but I didn't think about like what I could do. I could not believe that I could do things I'm doing right now, like changing other people's lives, like changing my life, like having a goal, making the goal happen. But no one's ever told me that I can. Like in Korea, everything is very, very, very pretty much set. Like you go to like you just like study like hell and go to good university, get a good job, and that's like prototype for every single one of them. I mean, like for teachers, your parents, like all the adults tell you that they don't tell you about like have your dream or go for it. They always talk about like get a good job and don't leave there. Like it's very, very sad. But like I had no idea that I could do such more until I was exposed to this great possibilities and success. And like actually like every the Zoom call on Friday, like for licensees, that's like mind blowing because world there are so many people with so much abilities and passion and like like-minded all around the world. And I didn't know this until I started looking for it. Uh, so now I'm just dragged towards that direction. But like at that stage, I had no idea. So I had
So
a lot of energy. Yeah.
I think what you said to me is that while you were in the educational system, it was
Yep.
a very regimented. People said this is the path that you're going to go on. You stay
Yep.
within these boundaries and get a good job and never quit and always work hard and all those
Yep.
kinds of things. So, what did you discover about how much truth was there in that when you got out of college?
Mm.
Now, you look young enough to have just gotten out of college. I think you're what, 28, 29 years old?
Like 31.
31. Oh, you're an old 30-year-old. Oh, no. So, how old were you? I love it. How old were you when you graduated from college, from university?
Let's see. Korean age is a little different because we count the first year in mother's womb. But let's see, it was like year 2000. Let's see. But my first job in the internship was like 2014. So yeah, I was about like 20, around like 26, 27. I was getting
Okay.
starting my first job.
So, what was your first job out of the university after you left?
Actually, my major was like engineering science, but like I wanted to do sales because like I told you about like I started watching YouTube clips. I wanted to be successful, and like everyone like in their life like they had their sales job or they started off sales and then become successful in the future. So hey, I thought I'll just try sales because I wanted to have my own business. I wanted to be successful. I had no idea how, but maybe this is how I thought. So yeah, I started my job like sales, and this is my second job in sales. But yeah, that was my start.
So, you went to college, you were studying the basis of engineering. I think you
Yeah,
said engineering science.
yeah.
When did you decide that you weren't going to be an engineer and that you were going to be a salesman?
Let's see. It's
Were you still in school when you made that decision or after
yeah.
you got out? Okay.
I was still in college. So I'm studying all these things like it's material science and engineering, like semiconductors, metals, ceramics, like just very like basic level science. But
Okay.
uh, I started like all my friends were looking for like big jobs. Like in Korea, there's like Samsung, LG, Hynix. Like they're big corporates, and then they give you big paycheck. So
Did you
like a
ever
lot of
think
my
about going to any of the auto manufacturers?
in my like beginning years, yes, but like as I see, I get to like study more. Like my friends going there or like people like around me. Like I hear stories and well, look at their lives. I mean, like they get a big paycheck, but like this is such a big corporate. I mean, you're like a very very small part of the business. Just it's the same routine. Like people tell you what to do. There's no growth, and you just like hang in the job, not really like enjoying or making anything happen and you get a big pay. Not I wouldn't say big, but it felt like would that be my future? Was that really what I want to do? And
So are there any other, this is kind of a completely off the subject, but are there
yeah.
any other auto manufacturers other than Kia or Hyundai in Korea?
Oh, there is like there used to be more, but Kia and Hyundai, they're actually one corporate now. It used to be separate, but then now they're one.
Yeah,
There's like
the guy that owns them, I know they're the same people because they're
oh,
they're clients of mine. So I was shocked when I found that
oh
out.
yeah,
Anyway, so go ahead. I'm
yeah.
sorry for interrupting your
No,
story.
no problem. So yeah, I've been like looking. I mean, like it's just like future. Like when I see my future, like would I want in my life to be like that? And it was not. I just felt like it wasn't enough. I wanted to do something like proactive. I wanted to create my own future, and I
Okay.
didn't know how to do it. So I just
Okay.
trying to just like study successful people, like how they got there, and that's when I learned about sales. I knew nothing about sales, but I like the idea that like if I produce enough, there's something can happen for me. I can actually like do something about it. So I think in my like junior year or something, I read a lot of books and just made a decision that hey, I can change my like career later on, but I really want to get to know sales. So I think
Now,
that's
is
one of the
that
future.
a non-standard Korean thing to do? Are you stepping outside of the norm
Yes.
there when you do that?
Yeah, very, very, very outside because like I still keep in contact with a lot of my friends, and they're very, very far away in location. All in big corporates. I told you about like Samsung, LG, like Hyundai. I mean, like they're everywhere. But uh, at this point, like I think I feel more and more happy. I'm producing more income as well. So yeah,
So
it's
you
very,
are
very outside the norm.
money motivated, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
sure,
good for
sure.
you. So was that part of your motivation when you starting to make this decision about going into sales and when you were a junior in college?
Yeah, I think that was about the time when I decided, and but like for years after that, because I was no good at it, I was like kind of struggling. But like once I made the breakthrough, I mean, it's been like very, very fun, entertaining, uh, fulfilling, I think. And I get to because of like Cara New and Grant Cardone and all this coaching and licensing and everything, I get to like share my experience with other people and make it have the same outcome as I did. So that's even more thrilling and happy for me.
So what was your why when you
Mm.
were still going to the university?
Why about like in going to
The
sales?
thing that was driving you, your purpose of doing this.
Oh, I thought the what people expected of me was very, very simple. Like the same story, like get a good job, stay there, and like you save your money, buy a house, and so forth. Like have kids, get married. But I felt I could do something more. Like Grant talks about, like work for your potential, not the target someone else gives you. And I don't know why, but I just felt that there is something more. I mean, I didn't want my life to stay on this track. I've been very, very good at staying this track, but it was just not fulfilling enough for me. I just thought, I don't know what it is, but I have something bigger to do. I could do more than just what other people tell me to do. So I just wanted to figure out my own path for the first time in my life, because like all my life, like decisions were made for, from people around me or my parents or, my expectations from other people. But like for the first time, I just wanted to like, if I follow that path, it's very obvious where I'm going to get. So
So
yeah.
when did you announce your intention to your parents that you wanted to do
Uh,
this? Yeah, there you go. Now I
yeah.
got you.
So like about the time when I was like graduating, you see,
So you
it's
waited
pretty
for a year and a half.
kind of because I want to be more certain. Um, but like it was still it was been a very, very conservative atmosphere in my family. My father is like he's a professor in a university in chemicals, so he's in engineering as well. He's been expecting from me to he supports me now perfectly, but he kind of expected that I continue my study in my graduate school even longer years and get a master's degree and maybe a like professor in the future, or like it's somewhere in that uh, route. But
So what was his reaction when you told him?
surprised, very very surprised. I mean, like, but I was surprised to see that. I thought they were going to be like very very against what I tried to do, but when I really like, we had a long conversation. I explained that for the first time in my life, I want to uh, change. I mean, I want to decide for myself. I'm going to take responsibility. I've no idea, or I'm not so sure. Like, I'm not 100% certain that I will be successful, but I know I will regret it if I just follow the like chosen path. So yeah, it's been a long conversation, but after like we talked for a very long time. I mean, my dad, yeah, he
Okay,
understood
I
surprisingly,
got it.
and
What was your mom's reaction?
well, similar to that, but we've been having more conversation with my I've been having more conversation with my mom than dad. Like, she kind of knew it before it happened, so it was easier.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand completely. There's lots of things I didn't want to tell my dad about what I thought
Yeah.
about what he was doing and what I wanted to do different. And I could kind of talk to my mom, so I get
But
it completely.
yeah,
So,
I kind of wish that I would have told him earlier, because like I always thought like they would be like angry at me if I told him about my intention, but like I was kind of scared. But if I had like shared my thoughts, and from the, it would have taken that long if I actually had more conversation with my parents.
I find that to be true with most things that you aren't telling other people, is that your fear of
Yeah,
something stops you from doing something, and you find out, why did I bother? Oh,
yeah,
I'm great.
very
Go
true,
do it. I support you completely. It's like,
very true.
why waste the time? And as Grant always says, fear is an indication that you're on the right track. So that means you should do it.
True,
So, you and I
right.
share that experience, and that shocks me. So
Uh,
what about your peer group when they found out that you wanted to be sales? Did you tell your friends that you wanted to do sales while you were still in school?
let's see. At the very, I think in the last year, because like I didn't share this story until I actually made the decision to go into sales. So well, they were surprised. I mean, like they thought, like maybe we could like work together and have similar jobs. But they weren't as surprised as my parents, because like they've been watching me like reading all these books and like listening to this stuff, like talking about this. Yeah, obviously, we've been like hanging out more often, like drinking and having fun.
Doing
So
stuff that you normally do in a university, right?
yeah,
Drinking
yeah,
and fun.
yep, yep. I mean, like it's like in Korea, like almost like all, not all, but like I think over like 85% go to university. But like, I it's like I I'm kind of wondering if they're really necessary. I mean, it's just like, like most people don't really use the knowledge they learn from the college in their jobs. I mean, and anyways, it's kind
I
of off the
know,
point.
I know in the United States, about 5 years ago, I saw a statistic that typically within 7 years after people graduate from a university in this country, they're not doing anything that has any relationship that they went to school for. And
Yeah,
I, since I was a little kid, I hated school. I didn't like it. I thought I was being taught things that I was never going to use. And I was about half right, because I used to complain about, why do I need to learn how to diagram a structure of a sentence? Even though I've written novels, I've written several hundred short stories, and I
yeah,
write all the time. I, who cares? It's like Grant's book about that somebody was giving him when he first sent out. I think it was the very first book. It wasn't 10x. It was Sell or Be Sold. Somebody
yeah,
was criticizing him because there was all these mistakes. He says, it's a bestseller, not a best written. You know,
yeah.
if your
True.
message is on point, nobody really cared. And that was kind of the way that I thought about it. Now, it probably would have helped me later in life, but I guess I'm just too lazy to do something. Even when I was 5 or 6 years old, or 10 years old, or wherever, however old I was when I was in the 5th or 6th grade, if I couldn't connect what someone was trying to teach me to some purpose that I thought that I was going to need in the future, it was really hard for me to stick with that subject because I had no interest in it. And,
Yeah.
the first barrier to learning is thinking you know everything because then
Right.
you don't need to study. But I don't know whether I was just lazy or trying to get away with stuff or whatever my reason was, but unless you're gonna be a brain surgeon or a nuclear physicist or something
Mm.
like that, or you need to get some kind of license, I never saw much use in school. And like I said, I've been about half right. And there are things that I
Yeah.
wish I had paid more attention. The one thing I do regret that I didn't do a very good job of creating the discipline was learning how to play a musical instrument because I've always loved music. I've always, I can't walk by a piano without putting my fingers on the keys and
Oh.
and playing my version of the music. But I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. And I regret that I never put the time into that because it was something that, I could really, really entertain myself if I could play the piano now at my age, which I'm 72 years old. But I don't regret it because it's too late to regret, and there's nothing to stop me from learning to play the piano at my age. So if
Right.
when I decide to do that, I'll probably do that. But anyway, this is your story time, not mine. So
Yeah. No worries.
so we've gotten through college, and you went out, and was it easy for you to get a sales job when you
Uh,
first got out of university?
yeah. So I've been trying to figure out like it's like I started like material science and I wanted to sales, how to connect the points, and I found a company that like sell it's like testing instruments for materials. So like it's
Mhm.
kind of connected to my major. I know like why they're doing this, and it's connected to sales. So I thought that's a very good start point for me, and so it wasn't that hard to get that job, but
What was
to
the
succeed in the
train?
job.
What was the training that they gave you as a salesperson?
Well, that was a very very disappointing part because I thought like it's a like Fortune like 100 or like 300 like big company, the number one in the world, and it's like this is a Korean office. So I thought, wow, this is a like major corporate. I mean, they're gonna have like all these like steps of training. I'll be like provided with a system and they'll educate me and I'll be successful. That was my first intent and idea, and I was very surprised that there was nothing. I mean, and not nothing. Like they told me to read a book, and there are a lot of like very smart individuals doing well in sales, so they're kind of relying on like individual ability to produce for themselves, and there was no education on sales at all. I mean, they told me it was a training. It was like training on like product knowledge,
Mhm.
and I was kind of confused. So I was on my own. I had to figure it out my way, and I had no experience in selling. I hardly ever like I don't speak much. I mean, I'm not that fluently good at speech and everything. So I struggled for a long time there.
So how long did you work at your first job?
2 years and a half.
So how much money did you make in that 2.5 years?
Let's see. My first like I had to convert from Korean won to dollars, but approximately it's about like 3,000만. So like 30K around
Okay.
approximately. That's my yearly. But
How does
there's
that go ahead?
hmm. Oh no,
How
no, I'm
does
sorry.
how does that relate to the average, let's say the average salaries in your country?
Well, it's not bad for a very beginning career, but it was like well below my expectations. Like my friends who actually decided to go to the major firm, like they're making, I wouldn't say a lot, but like I don't know, about like 25-50% more money than I did, and so I had to find my way through. Like I had to figure things out, but my ideal status was way up there, and I was way down here. I got no idea how to get there, but I told everyone that I'll be successful. I'm gonna like make my decision, and now I'm here. So those were the years when I tried to be like I'm struggling, trying to find a way.
So was it the lack of training or the lack of results that caused you to leave that job?
Uh, let's see. I say at the very beginning stage there was like lack of training. I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like making quotations, talking to people about the product, but I had no system, like no nothing. So, but at the very end, the end of that 2 years and a half, I get to know about Carter New. So I'm producing a lot more than before. But uh, all the incentives, like the money, actually the money they pay me, it was like based on like team goals. So no matter how much I produced, like all the other people, not all the other, but like two or three do really bad. There's no incentive for me at all. So like there was a kind of like disappointment there, and I was gaining more confidence that like now I'm on the track. I know what I'm doing, and I can do a lot better. And there were companies like trying to hire me at that stage. Like, I mean, like you should come work for us. I'm going to pay you a lot more money, and getting a lot of offers. I never had the experience before, so yeah, that's the time I start to make another move. So new job, new salary, a lot more incentives, and yeah, so my income doubled in very very fast short period of time, and like all my friends in other corporates started to say like, whoa, I mean, I didn't know that was possible, and they're now more interested. But like before that stage, for about like 2 years and a half, it was like very 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 frustrating in the beginning, but like, I was not giving up. So yeah, I think it was worth it.
So, what does your father think of your decision now?
Oh, he's proud, I think. We live in different cities, like so we don't have long conversation that often, but like like this year, like COVID-19 and everything, like Korean economy, like very tough situation, but still like we're doing okay. I mean, I'm bringing in new projects, uh, and so like he's like, I think he's more happy than before, for sure.
How about your mom?
She's yeah, like she was more concerned about like me like getting married and having a child and all that, but
Are
she's
you?
happy
Are
as
you
well.
married?
Yeah, I'm married.
Okay. I didn't get that from you ever on the licensee calls. Do you have any kids?
Yeah, I have a 1 year old.
How do you like that, Pops?
Well, it's a very very how would I put it? Like biggest event in my life. I mean, there's nothing more important than this little baby, but
Is it a boy
uh,
or a girl?
it's a boy.
What's it?
He's a boy.
What's his name?
His name is Yuan
Okay.
Lee, and so it actually gives me a lot more focus. Like I want to be a good enough person to tell my son, again, like I want to be his like role model. So like I have to be not like irresponsible person I was before. I want to be like just like Grant Cardone. I mean, like I see them all the time. Happy family. He's being a good mentor to his children. I see it all the time. So yeah, that's where I want to go.
So, the Grant Cardone training that you started in the beginning was while you were at your first job.
At the very last stage of my first job, yeah, I think like after about 2 year point, yeah, I think
So,
approximately.
so that sounds to me, and if I've got this wrong, clear it up for me. It sounds to me that something else clicked in you that made your sales started going right rather than just your connection with Grant Cardone. Because you said that you've made the statement that you've doubled your sales or whatever it was at the first job.
Mm.
Was that because of getting connected to Grant, or was there something else that happened in your life?
Uh, I would give biggest credit to Carl and you, because I've been getting a lot of training from other like Korean books, Korean free seminars, sales trainings. I've been looking for everything, everything
Okay.
I can get my hands on. But some of them were just like by tactics, or maybe they were better suited for like insurance sales. Or I've been like Grant Cardone himself, like there are a lot of like other gurus in sales, but I found a lot of them like obsolete, or not very. I had I bought their products, but it didn't change things dramatically. I mean, I'm trying to practice it, not working, but I was still like moving towards that direction, trying to educate myself. But like,
Okay.
so there has been like surplus a little by little. But when I got my access to Car and U, that was a game changer for me. I mean, there was like actual system I can follow. I can like put myself on this track, and every time I tried, every time pretty much it worked until I did it right. So yeah, I think that's the biggest change. So it happened very fast. Yeah.
All right. So how long have you now the job that you have now is just your second job, right?
Yep. Sure.
How long have you been there?
Let's see. So around 3 years now.
So you have a good job that pays you with more in line with your efforts. I imagine there's commissions involved with that, correct?
Yeah, true.
And your income is continuing to increase at the levels that you want. Why did you go looking for something else like the Cardone license?
At the stage, like I think has to do with like a 10x rule and 10x thinking. I was still not see. I was slowly starting to believe my capabilities of doing something greater.
Okay.
But I had it required me some time. Like, I did this like goal writing thing before I even knew about cardio. Like I've been studying all the like success ideas and theories and everything. So it took me a long time to write big goals for myself, because like when I write like small goals, I know if I focus for about a year or two, I can make the goal. But it didn't excite me for a long time. So then I get to know about Grant Cardone, and Car and U, and like 10x mind and action and thinking and everything. So once I start to actually believe I can do it, I started to write bigger goals, and now I'm more moving towards like great ideas, like bigger ideas, bigger action.
So
But,
tell me about the
yeah.
goals that you wrote last night, right before you went to bed. I want to hear what some of your big
Oh,
goals.
so
I told you I was going to put you on the spot.
Yeah, so a little explanation. Like it changed recently because there was a goal I wrote for my this year until Christmas Eve. But like I surpassed that anyways, and I was disappointed. I think it was still too small. So like it's been changed very recently. So in terms of like money, this year goal was to reach my all asset put together to reach how much is it? 1 million.
Okay.
Around 1 million.
Okay.
And but I didn't write down specifics, so I made the goal. I made that point, but it wasn't because of my all the like sales and business income, like real estate and sales and everything combined. But if I have like understood like this thinking, I would have wrote down like 10 million or 100 million. You see, so right now I'm testing out like writing as a present tense. So I'm a billionaire. I'm a best sales trainer, sales person in Korea, and I help everyone reach wealth and happiness in life.
Okay.
And I solve all the problems that are solvable. And there's like long story towards that.
I got time. Tell me your story.
Okay. So it's a really it's kind of a dark part of my life, long in the past.
That's what I want to get to, because that's going to help people.
Yeah. So there has been some points in my life that were like that shift me, the direction that changed my thinking. The reason I wrote down that goal, the very last one, about I want to help. I don't want people to suffer from like solvable problems that like includes a lot of things. One of the things I want to change in my life is that in Korea, like the suicidal issue is a big issue. I mean,
Really?
every day is about like 30 or 40 people.
Wow.
And that comes up to like over 14,000 people every year losing their lives just because of that. And that means a lot of people are attempting. So I'm a kind of survivor from that. I mean,
So have you ever considered suicide?
I tried and failed, so I'm a survivor.
Okay.
But
how old were you when you tried and failed?
That's during my high school times.
Really?
Yeah, because like I was a good student. You see, like when we take like a midterm final exam, we make like average score,
Okay.
and I could sometimes reach like up to like 97. So I'll pretty much get all hundreds, like a lot of expectations from me, either from other people. And you're gonna go to good college, you're gonna get a good job. And I've been on the track. I mean, like I would study like butt off. I mean, I wouldn't even drink water so I could save time going to the bathroom. It was that crazy. After about I think about like 3 years or something, like I could no longer do it. I always thought, you know, like I'm a good student. I mean, that's the path I'm going to go. And then when I realized that, you know, I really can't do this anymore, and like I kind of lost direction. I was very like down. I felt kind of like miserable, but like I had no idea. I mean, I had no idea where I was going. I just thought that was the only way I should go, and like I just found I cannot do that anymore. Like so, anyways, if I had known that I had more possibilities, there are more options in life. I mean, it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, there are a lot of things I did not know back then, and if someone would have like told me, just like Grant, like informed me that there are like, you know, there are more possibilities in you, and it doesn't have to be doing very just aside from being a very good student. There are like so much more in life. And if I had the yeah,
Did your parents know how you felt and that you tried to take your life?
that's mm, actually no one would believe me because
Okay.
I've been a very good student. I never said no to anything. I was always like, yes, sir, you know, I'm gonna do it. And so no one understood that until that actual incident happened. So yeah, that's I think that was almost like the lowest point in my life.
Okay.
But
So what did you learn from that occurrence or event?
let's see. The biggest thing is that, like, let's say there's a certain point I'm at, and there's a certain point I want to get, and there have like there's it's not only one path you need to take. I mean, you could reach. You can be more flexible, and you don't have to restrict yourself to one thing, and you need a mentor, and
Who was
a
your
lot of
mentor
things.
when you were in high? Who was your mentor at that time?
I don't think I had any. I just like, you know, from, you know, very early in the morning to the time I go to bed, like you just like study all day. So no thinking about mentor or direction or goals or anything. I just study. So
Okay.
yeah. But anyways, like I wanted because like a lot of Koreans suffer from the same issue. If they
Okay.
had like hopes, dreams, if they know about their possibilities, if they could learn that there's a way to actually make things happen, and if I could help people like with that, I mean, it's more like a mental illness. But when you're
Very.
stuck in there,
That's a
yeah.
that's an incredible why and a purpose. So what's the population of South Korea?
Oh, let's see. 5천만. So hang on, it's been changing. Let's see. 1,000,000, 1,000,000. I had to do. I have to look it up again, but like maybe around like 40 million.
Okay. So
Yeah,
it's approximately
approximately.
got the same amount of people in it as the state of California, but that's irrelevant. So your new job is to make sure that you're driving down the suicide rate with South Korea, right?
Yeah, that's
That's
the
pretty
initial
damn
goal.
good. That's a pretty damn good goal. You know, it's going to take a little bit of work, but
Yeah,
and whatever I can do to help you in that goal, I would love to help you.
you already are.
By doing what? What do I
It's
do? I just get on
inspiring.
camera.
No, no, but the thing, I mean, the consistency, the energy when you speak, and you know, among all the licensees, you're most active about like, you know, your message out, and like I can um I haven't not met you face to face, but I can very very sure about, you know, outcomes you produce because like it's very very predictable. He's always there. He's always on point. very strict, but like is his big uncle Tom will always speak the truth. So like yeah, that inspires me a lot, and that's the reason like we call you like you're the youngest here because of the such much like this energy and positivity, and so
I
very inspiring
appreciate
for
that.
me.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
I appreciate I really appreciate you.
Well,
But the goal thing, so it started off with like I want to make that suicidal thing zero in Korea.
that's a
But I
good
like
goal.
yeah, and I thought I've been writing these small goals and they've been evolving. So hey, if I could make that happen, that means like I can solve a lot of people's problems with their life direction, hope, and dreams and goals. So if only if I could do that in Korea, maybe I can just send to the whole world.
Yeah.
So that was my first breakthrough in my goal writing. And I also thought, if I could help such more people in all that power and knowledge, I could solve a lot of other problems as well. I mean, there are people suffering just because like not enough food, not enough clean water, or just like simple like medical. It doesn't cost them much money and anything, but there are a lot of people suffering from it. So there are a lot of solvable problems,
Hmm.
I believe, suicidal including. So I want all that to go away. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm just trying to write bigger goals. Actually, really challenge myself to see what I truly can do. And this starts from like changing myself, being a test demonstration myself, and then showing people that I can change myself and I can help them change themselves, and we just slowly go towards that goal. So
Have you
yeah.
ever shared your goals with your mom and dad?
This point, not yet. No. I don't think they will believe me, but go
Well,
there anyways.
people don't have to believe you. People are probably going to make fun of you. You can't do that. Well, yes, you can. And you know
Mm,
you can because
yeah.
if you can think it,
Yeah.
it's possible, then
Yes.
you can do it. So
True.
I think you're going to be surprised when you sit down and tell your mom and dad about that goal because it's so uptone. It has so much power behind it, and from an engineering standpoint, it gets into an aesthetic band that's so high that it creates energy for you. So
Hmm.
share the whole world. Don't be afraid to tell people what you're going to do.
Okay.
First place, it's your job to get more haters, as Grant said. You need to have people complaining about you can't have a goal like that. You can't ever do it. Well, everything that's ever been new, no one did it up until someone did it. So
True. True.
just, don't be afraid to declare your goals. Tell the whole, on our next licensee call, declare that goal. I think you should,
Hmm.
because it, the impact that creating these goals and expanding your goals has on you personally,
Yes.
and I think you should share them.
Okay.
You're very visible to the licensee group. You're very visible to Grant. You're very visible to Richie, and Richie's in a world where there's a whole group of people that are asking about you.
Hmm.
Step up, take advantage of the PR. It'll connect your energies to the point that you'll get closer to your target, even if it's only a millimeter. You'll get a little bit closer to your target
Right.
by
True.
simply declaring it.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I definitely should.
No problem.
Just yeah. So sometimes I do.
If you get grounded, I didn't do it.
But sometimes it's those little ideas, little push that change a lot of things. So I really appreciate that. Like some things like if I just keep it to myself or think about it myself, there's some things I can never stretch myself or something is an indication that when I fear something, usually that's the way I'm supposed to go. So
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't scare me, it doesn't stretch me.
Think about what Grant says about commitment. If your testing ground of your commitment is you haven't told your mom and dad yet, start there. It's just I strongly suggest it because first place, your parents obviously love you and support you, and
True.
they're not going to beat you because you've created a goal of solving world hunger or whether it's reducing the survival rate on the planet or even Korea. It's such a
Mm.
noble goal. How could anybody, other than people who make a lot of money off depressed people, and we won't mention who that is.
Mm.
But I mean, most people want everybody else's life to go well, and I applaud you for having that goal.
Thank you.
So, if you could go back from today at your mighty old age of 31 and tell your 12-year-old self
Oh, yeah.
something, what would you tell yourself?
What would I tell myself? Oh, that's a tough question. Like, can I tell them just like one thing or like a story or
It's your universe. You can create it any way you want.
uh well, if it doesn't have to be just like one time, like I want to help him find the mentor because like I can't always be with him, my 12 years old self. Because at that stage of my life, well, I was a happy kiddo, but I had no idea there were other ways possible. I mean, like in my small society, it was homeschool, and my friends and parents. There was only one path, and if I only knew that there are more possibilities, I could do a lot more than what other people tell me to do. Uh, like I'll tell him that there's like there's a lot more in you. I mean, you have a good heart, and don't be afraid to fail, and find a mentor. I think that's what I'm gonna tell him.
Okay. It's, I'll pass a little old man, gray-haired wisdom on to you
Okay.
because this is the way that I teach everyone who comes to my company.
Okay.
I approach people from the fact that I know as a spiritual being that you know the answer to everything. So I just keep asking them questions. And if you think
Mm,
about what Grant does with his trainings, deep dive questions, get to the real why. And that's the way I train people. In fact, my favorite answer is when someone comes to me and asks me to solve their problem, I ask them, what would you do if I wasn't here?
hmm.
In other words, if I'm not around, if you don't teach your son to make decisions for himself and to take responsibility for that, whose job is it to teach him? And
Hmm.
I take that viewpoint with all of my employees because I want them to think for themselves so that this whole company is on the same path. We're all pulling the oars in the same boat and we're aligned with the same goals that the company has and the valuable final products of each department and each division that we have in the company. And it's probably frustrating to them because they come
Right.
through like you, a path where the only way you can learn something is to go to school. No, the only way you
Hmm.
can learn something is to pay attention to what you observe and look inside yourself for the real answer.
True.
Because you don't, you, it, I don't learn. If you sat and talked to me for an hour and tried to enlighten me on something that you know about engineering, it's not going to happen. But
Hmm.
if I had to figure out a way to turn the lights back on in my house because I couldn't see anything,
Hmm.
now I'm motivated and I
Yeah.
can probably figure out a way to solve my problem. Even if the solution is call an electrician, there's always an answer. The
Right.
answer to everything is how can we make this work as opposed to identifying the problems. I, Everybody knows what the problems are. How are we going to make
Right.
it work? How are we going to reduce the suicide rate in South Korea? It's the only question you have to keep asking yourself. The rest of it
Right.
is just people's negative opinions and they just gave up on their goals. That's the only difference between you and them.
Hmm.
So that's my advice to you, Dad, about how to raise your son. But I was at. Do you mind if I tell you about one of my stories?
Oh no, no, not at all.
I
Please.
was at my nephew's house, and he's got three young children, one of which was just born. And the middle child is a rebel at everything. You can see her. She would look around and make sure that you were looking right before she did something that she knows that she's not supposed to do. And I watch her being scolded by her mom and her dad, and she just laughs at them. And I admire the hell out of
Ah.
that characteristic because that is a person who is very strong-willed. but the strength can also be your weakness. You know,
Mm.
when you the people who have control over your food and your sleep time and your clothes, you probably ought to create a little bit of affinity with them. Otherwise,
Yeah.
life's not going to go so well for you. And she's going to learn that. And I mean, I remember when she was maybe 3 months old, that
Oh.
she was always had these eyes and she was looking around and she was observing. And I remember being that age and I remember what I was thinking about. So, and I will reveal to you that I know I'm a spiritual being acting out a physical existence. So I don't
Mm.
deny the fact that my memories are real and I've been through that, what she's doing. And I know that she's going to run into some problems. And the only thing that the parents can do wrong is to break that spirit. They got to figure out a way to channel it. And that's the only word I can use, even though we're talking about the Korean system of education and the channels may have a bad connotation to you. You know, just never forget that little tiny children are just adults in big bodies. Talk to them like they're
Right.
adults, treat them like they're adults, and you'll grow an adult. Don't baby talk them. You know, hold them
Yeah.
accountable. Let them help you with things that they want, even though that if he wants to help you with washing the dishes. So what if he drops one? You know, come
Mm.
on. You know, how did you learn how to do something? By breaking it. How did you learn how to
Right.
do something? By failing. And failure is not a bad thing. Failure is just a stepping stone to where you want to go.
True. Very true. I actually learned a lot from my son. Like he just started walking, and barely running, but like I see him like fall all the time, and he just like quitting is not an option for him. And I remember the time
Good.
when I was like that, and I try to remember the when was the time I kind of lost that, but like I couldn't recall. So it reminds me a lot about like the actions, you know, about like quitting, going for it, being a reasonable approach.
Well, I used to ask people when I saw them worrying about their child falling down when he was trying to learn how to walk. I'm asking, well, what's the limit? What do you mean? He
Mm.
says, well, when do you stop him from falling down so much that he never learns how to walk? You know,
Mm.
I mean, you could buy these little walk around things with wheels and four things. That's not teaching them to walk. You know,
Mm.
we all need to learn how to walk. Otherwise, it's going to be real hard to get around. And
Yeah.
you know, think about people who can't walk, and
Mm.
you'll ask a different question. You'll come up with a different answer to that. You know, you just got to let them fall down, and it's also your responsibility as a parent to create a safe environment. So maybe
Sure.
not having too many sharp corners of things, or places that they can
Yeah.
reach to, and that kind of stuff. But you know, you got to let them fall. You have to let them
Mm.
fall. My dad always said, if you want to learn how to discipline kids, learn the same way that he trained dogs with a
Mm.
newspaper. Smack them on the nose. It doesn't hurt them, but it gets their attention.
Okay. Thank you for
No
that.
problem. No problem. Tell me how it goes for you. I take no
Okay.
responsibility if it doesn't work. So we've been at this for about an hour. So if there was one message that you could deliver to the whole world, do it right now.
There is greatness in you, in me, in everyone. We all have wings. We just gotta figure out how to fly. And I wish I have not wasted so long time in my life just to realize that I could do things until I've been waiting so long to someone to tell me that I could do things, but really within me I knew I could. It just took us so long for me to believe that. So just there's greatness in you, and you know, I believe in you. We can do this.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. And
Thank you.
that concludes today's podcast with my friend Kwang from South Korea. And let's do this again sometime.